It was at Mugello, 30 kilometers from Florence, that the most loved prancing horse in the world celebrated the end of another great season. Six-time world champion Michael Schumacher, test drivers Badoer and Barrichello, and Felipe Massa were there to meet the technical backup team, but most of all, the public. At the head of it all, Luca de Montezemolo, much acclaimed and hailed by the public, brandishing flags. Luca, who joined Ferrari as sporting director 30 years ago, now president of the board. But the big stars of the day were really the 2003 Formula One cars. All the high points of the year coming flooding back, just like the pit stops of the Scuderia. The wizards of the pit lane are applauded by Il Capo. Before the main tribune, just over 5 meters from the track, the supreme achievement. Schumacher, Barrichello, Badoer and Massa meeting the mechanics of the Scuderia. After a difficult season, which nevertheless ended again in triumph, what could be more fitting than to be acclaimed by the team's home public, whose only wish is to show their adoration for their champions?
The light system was very good. The light go on and off.
The fourth consecutive Drivers' Championship for Schumacher, and the fifth World Constructors' Championship. That's worth celebrating. Festivities for Ferrari was also the last chance of the year to watch the Ferrari and Maserati Trophy Challenge Racing Series. In a briefing time for drivers, the track is damp and will have to be dried a little. The cars will head out for 2 warm-up laps. Finally, Saturday morning, the start of the first race, the final of the Ferrari World Challenge, Race 1. Right from the start, the battle begins. After the first lap, it's clear who the main protagonists will be, especially Thomas Caminata in car 33, who won the Shell Cup last year, the B series of the challenge. Further back, there's no lack of passion nor determination, with the kind of consequences you might imagine. In the lead, still the same protagonists, with Caminata handling the situation without any problems. Between Beluzzi and Caminata, number 9 and number 33, very aggressive driving. But Beluzzi isn't able to get past. Here in the corners, you can see the different schools of driving. Beluzzi is very aggressive, but the smoother style of Caminata will win through. Extreme caution needed, because even the most banal off-road sortie here can have dire consequences due to the sand. During this time, the Irish driver Michael Cullen's out of the running. The battle continues. More than just mechanical problems, the corners on this track are paying their toll. While another car, number 8, is out of the running in the gravel. Just behind the leading couple, the same kind of battle is underway, with car number 3, Luigi Moccia, third in the challenge last year, attacking to maintain his third place behind Caminata and Beluzzi, who's already understood there's nothing he can do against car number 33 and its driver, Austrian by name, but Italian by nationality. The order's changing further back in the pack with Fabio Santaniello in car number 19. After a number of corners in door-to-door combat, he finally gets through past Luigi Moccia, car number 3. Kemenata's first to come through by the checkered flag. Kemenata can be happy in his Ferrari. He receives the victor's spoils from the hands of Montezemolo and Schumacher. It's incredible to be here with those Formula One drivers. A man who has the passion of motorcar racing, nothing can be better.
Io penso che di più non mi poteva capitare su questo mondo.
Congratulations to the winner. I'm happy to be second. For the last 4 years I won once and finished second twice, so I can be happy with that.
Direi che il bilancio è molto positivo.
With victory in the first race of the World Final and an average speed of more than 146 kilometers an hour, Kemenata has his sights on success overall in the final of this challenge. The taste of victory. Act 2 in the World Final here at Mugello. It's the first race of the Shell Trophy. Among the main protagonists, Peter Rischiger in car number 52 and Andrea Lepore, car number 54, sitting easy after having already taken victory in the challenge. The duel between these two will be very close and the pre-start tension is evident. At the start, it's Lepore who gets his nose out in front. Only short-lived, though, because Rischiger doesn't want to give it away, and the result is catastrophic. He hits Lepore, who spins and is out of the running. The start will be marked by the entry of the safety car. The incidents come one after another until the race marshals decide to stop Rischiger, who was responsible for the accident. The track finally cleaned, and the race is restarted. The cars get back underway. It's car number 69, Stefana, in the lead with 44, Engelhorn following him, 47, Frosinini, and followed by car number 67, Mugello. The battle's on, with Engelhorn and Mugello putting on a show and overtaking Stefana. The tail-enders are also fighting tooth and nail. Back in the lead, a new duel is beginning between the Austrian Engelhorn and the Italian Stefana. Behind we find Mugello and Frosinini. But it's Klaus Engelhorn who's first past the checkered flag and wins after 19 laps with an average speed of 150.
But I was also lucky, of course, or blessed, because, you know, in the first corner, many cars went out, so it was not that hard as it would have been if all the racers would have stayed in the race. But Stefano gave me a hard time, and well, I could overtake him and I could stay in front, thanks God.
The podium and Engelhorn shows that he can jump just like Schumacher. The 360 Modenas are back on the track, but this time for the final of the Italian challenge, it's Thomas Kemenata who takes the lead ahead of number 16 Malluccelli and number 2 Montani. The pace is hectic and not everybody's able to handle it. Kemenata is in control of the race. Meantime, several cars put on a show for the crowd. For second place behind Kemenata, we find Malluccelli and Montani, who push their cars beyond the limit. There are more problems on the track, and the black flag will come out again, this time for number 2 Montani, who was probably not the only one responsible for the accident. The leader is still Kemenata, but behind us, Linos and Scalera and Santaniello. Linos goes into attack, but pushes just too hard, just like Scalera, who finishes in the sand. So yet again, Thomas Kemenata has an easy run for the latter part of the race. He remains in the lead right up to the end, ahead of Sant'Agnello and Bontempelli in car number 12. The second race of the Italian Shell Challenge has the same faces, but this time on a damp track which is quick to claim victims. Luigi Moccia with driving error. But this time, something's changed. Scalera in car number 4 and the Austrian Karl Bauern, number 11, are putting heavy pressure on Kemenata. And finally, Kemenata is forced to give in. On the home straight, it's Karl Bauern who wins, ahead of Linos and Sant'Agnello. There are some other end-of-season grudges to be worked out in the Italian Challenge here at Mugello. It's Andrea Lepore who takes the lead ahead of Peter Rischiger, and the duel is underway. The checkered flag's out, and it's the 360 Modena of Andrea Lepore first across the line. In the second race of the Italian Shell Cup, it's car number 49, Mantovani, that takes the lead. Further back, Mantovani Stefano passes Rischiger, who doesn't want to give in and resists a little too much. The result is inevitable. The cars impact and head off the track. Towards the end, it's a surprise. The Austrian Engelhorn with the Ferrari number 44 passes 69 Stefano and takes the race. The American drivers don't have their own challenge. They drive with those of the European Challenge. It's an interesting one to watch, with a number of leading lights that are all able to take to the podium. Impressive when seen from the onboard camera in Michael Cullen's car. The battle's underway between the French Ange Bard, the Italian Visconsin, the Irishman Cullen, and the Dutchman Homerson in car number 130. Visconsin tries to get past Bard, but the Marseille-based driver fights back. Putting in an excellent performance, it's the French driver sponsored by the football club Olympique de Marseille who takes the victory. I'm very happy to win at Mugello for the World Final. It's a great feeling. If I can finish tomorrow by another victory, it'll be great. And they're out on the grid for race 2. Anyone might think that Bard will be dominant in the second race, but the leader turns out, as they get underway, to be Michael Cullen, out alone in the lead. Finally, we also get to see some of the American drivers like Douglas Peterson, car number 287. All the American drivers, by the way, their cars start with 200. Peterson, Cullen, Graf and Bard all putting on a great show with attacks and overtaking maneuvers. When the going gets tough, it's not surprising to see some impacts. It's the US driver Brad Egner, car number 225, who comes into contact with the Irishman Kieran Caulfield in car number 118. Emotion runs high, but there's no major damage done. Well, it's not the only episode. Car number 116, Karl Oppitzhauser, goes for a spin. A short time later, it's Andreas Koenig who's on. And this time it's all too much. Time for the safety car to come back out onto the track. When the race gets back underway, it's again the French driver Ange Bard who takes the advantage. Bard is behind Douglas Peterson now, who decides to throw in the towel. Bard looks like he has it in the bag, but the marshal signaled he'd overtaken when the yellow flag was out. Victory will go to a very happy Michael Cullen.
I think it was a good race for the fans and the spectators. It was very exciting, 3 abreast over the finish line. I'm very happy to take the win, and it gives me second place in the championship, and congratulations to Ange Bard. He wins the championship and he is a good champion. I'm happy to be second.
Grand finale at Mugello, also for the grandpas of the Shell historic Ferrari Maserati Challenge. 3 groups of wonderful vehicles that were responsible for creating the legend of the prancing horse and the trident. The open wheel category is dominated by Maserati, especially the incredible 250F from the 50s, lapping in 2:19, while the 360 Modena laps in 2:02. The charm of the Alfa from the Ferrari stables of the 30s, but it's especially the Maseratis that are in the limelight. It's the German Thomas Becher with the Maserati 250F who wins, as he's done right through the season. The second group brings together sports cars equipped with drum brakes like the Ferrari 750 Monza, Maserati 300S, the Ferrari 250 GT, or the Maserati A6 GCS, or the very rare Ferrari 250 Testarossa, or the rare and beautiful Maserati A6 GCS, or more classic, the Maserati 250S. Finally, the third group, up to the 80s now. There are 2 Ferrari 512 BBLMs out of only 5 ever built. From the 60s, it's the Ferrari 250 GT and 330 LM, or the Maserati 61. The Dutch driver Bosch is there with the Ferrari GTB4, known as the Daytona. The American Binny prefers the Ferrari 312P, and Patrick Steiger the Ferrari 512M. And with 6 races on the program, there's not room on the podium for everyone, but it's already not too bad.
Normalement, c'est très amusant ici.
Well, it's usually much fun to drive here with the straight line and the power of the car. It's all right. But with the rain, it's very dangerous, very slippery, and we can't use all the power. But we tried to make a good show.
Faire pour vous un bon spectacle, non?
2 years ago, I could win such a race with my car. This year it was enough for third, but it's okay. Very nice to be again here on the podium.
But it was interesting. We're all here, and it was very enjoyable. I was here 2 years ago, I think. So I raced in at Monza, I raced at Donington, and I raced at Spa.
I know second is not good when you're in pole position. It's not good. So I'm going to go out tomorrow, and I'm going to do or die. Everything on the line for tomorrow. We're going to go for it. How's that?
A lot of seconds, too many seconds. We're going to focus, we'll try. Next year I'm going to try harder. Thanks.
I think we're probably as good as we can get. I don't think I'm going to get any better. And I'm not going to get better. I'm getting older.
It's a wonderful circuit. Yeah, I've raced here a couple of times before, and it's lovely. Beautiful.
Bring the cars to the circuit, not always the same, because I think it's nice for the public to see different models, right? More than the racing.
The most important thing for the public, to see the legends of the track in their element, not put away behind garage doors. Here at Mugello, the Maserati Trophy, in its first year this year, seeing the last races of its season as well. In pole position, it's Nunzio Lavecchia. In the same group, there are names from the world of Formula One like Ivan Capelli, a guest here for the event, putting on the best lap, 2 minutes 06.474. Emanuele Smura, who's dominated the whole season, is already winner of the championship before the racing gets underway. The start promises plenty of action and emotion, as confirmed by these onboard images from the car of Lepore, the Italian driver. More than one goes for a spin. The consequences are inevitable. It's the Italian Vescovi in car number 14 hitting car 7, Michael Orts. And for those who want to know what it's like to overtake on the racetrack at more than 200, this is what it's like. Lepore passes Nunzio La Vecchia. Capelli is still in the lead, while car number 18 of Bozzetto heads off and into the gravel trap. The running's still very tight packed. There's plenty of action, like Romeo, number 31. And unfortunately, our own on-track cameraman is also down. He finally gets back into the running just behind number 27, Rota, while the race has a few burning moments in pit lane for the mid-race driver change. Emanuele Smura, the first king of the Maserati Trophy, manages the race without too many problems, with a very smooth and supple driving style. Here, number 27, Sergio Rota, the main rival, also with a very clean style, but slightly less efficient. Lepore, the cameraman, tries to work his way back up through the pack, moving from 4th to 3rd. But he finally makes it through. And the checkered flag will signal the end of the last of 8 races of the Maserati Trophy. The winner is also the winner of the race, Emanuele Smura, who receives the prize from the hands of the CEO of Maserati. Today is the end of the first year for the Trofeo Maserati, which is the real return for Maserati to competition. Perhaps next year it will have something new. Next year, the Trofeo Maserati will be run again. The success of this first year encourages us to go on. This kind of formula is very important for our commercial division. When you talk of Maserati, you also think about racing. The both are indissociable. Now, it's impossible not to hope for a great return from Maserati in competition. All the team is working on this project, including Claudio Bero, John Todd and Luca di Montezemolo. To end the festivities at Mugello, another special treat. Formula One drivers behind the wheel of the Maserati Trophy cars. 4 cars with teams made up of a Formula One driver and one from the Maserati Trophy, with the start in the same fashion as the Le Mans of golden days. It was a race to be seen. Number 23, Vincenzo Tirella, gets the best start ahead of number 28, Smura, 27, Rota, and 22, Lepore. The champion Emanuele Smura regains the lead. As in most races of the season, the duel was announced between Smura and Lepore. After 4 laps, Vincenzo Tirella leaves the driver's seat to the world champion. It's time to see Schumacher driving endurance style. Apparently just as much at home behind the wheel here as in a Formula One car. While the aim is to have fun, the public above all, racing drivers remain racing drivers, and Luca Badoer in the Maserati number 22 tries to overtake his teammate Massa, as we can see here in car number 28. Schumi's taking things easy, nobility obliges. Badoer and Massa, on their part, are in for a fight. Badoer finally pushes through and gets past Massa. And as they come around for the finish line, and it's victory to Badoer and Ferrari. Quite a show for one and all, and why not for the next GT Championship?
Grazie di esserci vicini. Forza Ferrari sempre, bravi, grazie.
Questo è il primo.
Finally, to wrap up the weekend, a very lucky few with their own Ferrari Formula One cars take to the track to celebrate the winning formula. Some of the Formula One cars that have made history, from 2001 the 126 C2 and the 312T from Niki Lauda. With all the weekend celebration, the future remains a challenge. And the 2004 season, another fantastic adventure for the boys in red and the prancing horse.